Welcome to the JSPAC's Using Data for Career Technical Education Program Improvement. This presentation will provide a brief overview of how data can be used to improve career technical education programs and lead to enhanced student success. We will also direct you to some resources that will assist you as you work towards program improvement. The Perkins Act of 2006 requires that data be analyzed to determine students' outcomes and identify gaps in performance among various special population subgroups. Once gaps are identified, you can look to possible root causes for those gaps and design strategies to close them. The goal we all have as educators is to improve services, processes, programs, pedagogy, and materials so that there are as few barriers to student success as possible. Data on how students are performing will guide us in determining where we are succeeding and where improvement is needed. From there, we can identify root causes and select strategies and services to assist students in reaching their goals. In addition to identifying performance gaps, data can tell us which programs, services, or instructors are working well and enabling students to thrive. We know that some of you are giddy with excitement at the use of data, and some of you just want to throw your hands up in the air. It's okay. We agree with all of you. Data isn't the answer to all our questions, but it must be the starting point to all program improvement planning. The Perkins Act contains core indicators of program and student success. Although they are a bit different for secondary and post-secondary education, in general, the core indicators are skill attainment, completion, graduation or persistence, placement or employment, and non-traditional by gender participation and completion. For each core indicator, schools track and report outcomes for each special population subgroup. Visit your system's Perkins office or the Perkins Collaborative Resource Network for additional and specific information. Each school must set a level of performance for each core indicator and then is required to meet at least 90% of that goal. Additionally, each year the goal is raised. Remember, Perkins funds are to improve and expand. If your school doesn't meet or exceed the goal, it is faced with sanctions and a possible loss of funding. It is important to realize that the goals are there to help us see what is happening in our classrooms and programs so we can best serve our students. It's not punitive. When an indicator isn't met, it behooves us to look at the performance of the special populations subgroups to see which subgroup might be struggling and therefore may be the cause of the low performance. From there, we look for the root cause of the low performance and select strategies to address that issue. Before commencing a program improvement process, it's important to know specifically which core indicators are weak and what other data sets indicate. The National Alliance for Partnerships in Equity, or NAEP, has developed the PIPE-STEM program improvement process. In this process, the first step is to analyze your data fully because the strategies for program improvement vary. For example, if students are having difficulty in Core Indicator 1 or skill attainment, instructional or classroom approaches might need to be changed. However, if the difficulty is in Core Indicator 2 or completion, it might mean that additional student supports are required. Sometimes the core indicator data doesn't tell us everything. It is helpful to get additional data that refine the picture. For instance, at the community college level, it is important to work with your Disabled Students Programs and Services office when looking at the core indicator data for students with disabilities. Additionally, working with your school or Community CalWORKs or welfare office when looking at core indicator data on students who are economically disadvantaged may allow you to develop a clearer and more accurate picture of how low socioeconomic status students are faring on your campus. On your screen and in the companion PDF file for this e-seminar on the JSPAC website are suggested sources of additional data to analyze in your search. For the core indicator for placement or employment, It is important to look also at the labor market information for your local area. If a student is getting her or his certificate or diploma only to find there are no jobs in her or his field, it does the student, our schools, and ultimately our economy a major disservice. On your screen and in the companion PDF are two resources that are beneficial in obtaining California labor market information. Working with community and school offices will allow educators to develop a clearer and more accurate picture of how subgroup students are performing on campus. In order to understand the entire story, it is also important to get all the data disaggregated for your site to the lowest common factor, such as by each special population group as well as ethnicity and gender. If you have no access to the data yourself, ask your institutional researcher or admissions officers for data disaggregated by gender, race and ethnicity, age, parental status, socioeconomic status, English language learner status, or disability, for example. It is also important to know how the subgroup's outcomes compare to outcomes of students who are not a member of the special population subgroups. Finally, getting your local program-level data is imperative. You simply can't improve your specific program with district-level data alone. Get local demographic data to see the makeup of your community and see if one gender or racial group is overrepresented or underrepresented in your school or programs. If this is an issue, a professional development day with counselors, recruiters, feeder school information officers, and/or the marketing department may be in order to bolster recruiting of the underrepresented groups. In addition to the core indicator data, look at additional local data such as attendance, GPA, graduation rates, and middle or high school course enrollment. This may assist you in identifying gaps in counseling marketing practices about careers. You may identify a course selection bias or micro-messages in posters, classroom decorations, or counseling materials. Materials that indicate to some students that a career is only for men or that blacks need not apply are examples of micro-messages. Once you have a clear picture showing one specific subgroup, maybe teen parents or single parents who are not succeeding, it is easier to plan strategies that accurately address the issue. Additionally, seeing programs or classes that are extremely successful in serving a particular subgroup gives you a place to start to identify what administrators and/or teachers are doing that is working so well. This allows you to model strategies around locally proven successes. Okay. So now you've completed Step 1 of NAEP's Process for Program Improvement. The next step is to identify and verify root causes for the gaps and select strategies to address them. If indeed you have verified that it is the teen or single parents who are not doing well in your program, you now can talk to these students, do a literature review, talk to teen parents or single parents who have dropped out, for example, to determine the actual root cause. NAEP has a root cause and strategies document that is an excellent literature review that can be used as a starting point for this step. Access it on the JSPAC or CCC Special Populations websites. The cause of low performance might be a lack of transportation, the pace of the class is too fast, inadequate daycare options, or any of the plethora of other barriers teen parents and single parents may be facing that is making it difficult to succeed. Once you have identified a probable root cause or causes, it then falls upon you to select the most economical, practical, and effective strategy to close the gap. Going back to our teen or single parents, let's say your inquiry determines that the biggest barrier is the pace of the class. Strategies to help students overcome this barrier may include developing an online self-paced program, establishing tutoring and study groups, or making some one-semester courses into two-semester courses for some sections. These strategies may also close gaps for other special populations, such as students who are ELL, disabled, or economically disadvantaged. Once you have selected a strategy or two, the third and final step is to apply the strategy and then measure the outcomes again. The strategy may not have worked as intended. Alternatively, it may have worked not only on the teen parents in our example, but also for students with disabilities. Only a reanalysis of the data will allow you to know the outcomes of your program improvement strategies. In the environment in which schools function, we cannot spend time and dollars with no outcomes, nor can we gamble with our students' futures. The following resources will aid in your program improvement process. Our website, the Joint Special Populations Advisory Committee site at jspac.org, has written resources, additional e-seminars, low-cost or free professional development opportunities, links to other sites, and newsletters to assist you in your process. The California Community College Special Populations Collaborative at cccspecialpopulations.org has information on California Perkins Core indicators, effective practices, resources, links, and 4-page handouts on tips to serve non-traditional students, limited English students, and students from special populations. You can also find a handout on understanding and using the core indicators there. The final organization that is especially helpful is the aforementioned National Alliance for Partnerships in Equity, or NAEP. NAEP has dozens of one-hour webinars, hundreds of scientifically proven resources, and public policy information. At this website, there is also access to fee-based year-long professional development opportunities on the PIPE-STEM program improvement process, and on the scientifically proven ideas behind eliminating micro-inequities and using positive micro-messages and micro-affirmations to reach all students. You will find the root causes document on the NAEP website as well. Okay, we know data is a lot to handle, but really, it's just storytelling with numbers. Don't be intimidated by the charts, columns, and dryness. It's actually easy with a little effort and understanding of the value of disaggregated data, and, of course, we are here to help. Before you tune out, take a minute to visit and bookmark the rest of the JSPAC website. While you are there, sign up for the News You Can Use newsletter, attend a JSPAC conference, host a JSPAC regional workshop. Next time you're thinking about program improvement, or have a student who is not doing as well as you know they could, visit the JSPAC website and look through some resources for inspiration and guidance.